Now?
Yeah, you don't just take the silence as the cue. The silence is the cue, Giovanni. Continue.
Oh, okay. Now?
Just go at this point. Just go at this point. We're rolling.
Welcome back to another Two Podcast. It's Alex, myself, and Matt. We're here with two movies. We're here with two movies. We're
It's
going to do
late.
the Ballad of Buster Scruggs and Infinite today. If you've noticed, Lewis is not with us. What you guys don't know about Lewis is he's an extreme sportist, I guess you would call it. This weekend he did climbing a tree, and then you have to chainsaw parts of the tree off as you climb down. And he was
very
really
nice.
And
Wait, hold on. I just want to interrupt. He is world ranked.
yes, it's his height. He's so small.
He's able to climb that tree very fucking fast.
Thankfully, my brother was not injured, but he fell on a 91-year-old on the way down. We don't know the lady's name.
The lady, it's a woman.
I'm just happy it wasn't our great grandmother.
But
fortunately, he is unharmed. She did break his fall. She is deceased.
she's deceased.
Unfortunately,
He'll be back with us next week, though, and he can tell you the details.
there is some legal
All the
ramifications.
questions in the comments below in this video, and we'll make sure he gets to answering them for you.
Give lots of thoughts and prayers to Lewis and his ongoing legal battle with the family of the 91-year-old woman he fell on top of. Why was she there?
Fuck.
Right?
What's that?
We're starting with the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Yeah.
Behind me.
It's like
do you
the
wanna
Hateful
go-
Eight for musicals.
It is, right? It really is.
With a lot less of the N-word.
Yeah.
Like none.
So true.
Absolutely none.
So the Ballad of Buster Scruggs is an anthology movie. It's Coen Brothers.
Surprised me, by the way.
The anthology.
I wasn't expecting an anthology when I saw this.
I am a little bit of a snob in this realm. Generally speaking, I like anthologies to be connected by something, and the only
In some way.
The only thing that connected them was the stupid book in this one.
And that being of the Western era.
Yeah. Other than that, there wasn't like no character
like,
crossover.
Starts another story, right? Something like that.
Yeah, or at some point, like a character from an early story interacts with another story's characters or something.
Yeah, you'll see some kind of passing and yeah.
The movie starts off great. Gives you a high action story and it starts with Buster Scruggs.
But he's the best character in the entire thing.
He is the best character. He's confident. He's not cocky. He's aware that
he's a skilled murderer who's a jolly singing fella.
Yeah,
and if you don't know who he is, he's the guy in fucking that Christmas movie, Christmas Story.
What?
He's in a Christmas Story.
What does he play in a Christmas Story?
He's the one that fucking double dog dares him to fucking stick his tongue to the hole.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
This is the same dude from Oh Brother Where Art Thou who plays Buster Scruggs.
Yeah, and he's also in Holes. Find it.
No, yeah,
he's in Holes. Yeah.
Oh, I may be I may be corrected. Okay.
What? He's in a Christmas Story?
Yeah, no, it's not him.
Now I have to look that up and see who the fuck I'm talking about.
Talking about the redheaded kid?
No.
It's definitely he's way older than that. He was probably 25 when that movie came out. Anyways, go on.
But yeah, he is in Holes.
Yeah, he's been in a lot. Like he's the dude that you recognize his face, but not his name. Like he's worked with the Coen brothers several times.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of their movies. The movie starts off. He's going through the good old desert mountains in the Wild West there,
Just to
and then
see.
he just singing. But the weird part is he just shows up at like a canteen out of nowhere, like
Mhm.
he's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and he's already unwelcome. Like they
Because
already
he's
don't
dressed
like
in
him.
white. He's dressed in white, and they thought he was the law.
Yeah, they thought he was an
he's-
officer.
If you go into the religious spectrum, he's almost like the archangel.
Yeah,
He comes
that's
in and slaughters the evil, but once again we have the black suited. Maybe you can look at him as the Lucifer of the story. Comes in and
he does it in the nice, like he's
Yeah.
the nice guy through the whole movie till he pops the first guy in the head.
and then
I'm like,
and then four others right after that.
Yeah.
Just rapid fire murders them all.
For no reason, just fucking kills everybody.
Well, I think here's the thing though. Back then, it was probably like if you don't shoot first, you're gonna be. It's a shootout either way. Like it's better to be the first to kill the guy than be the dead guy.
And then he kills the bartender, and he still doesn't fucking get his whiskey.
that's true. He still does it.
He went there for fucking whiskey.
Well, he went there for water, wasn't it? Wasn't he talking about water?
No, he said I want whiskey. They said
Oh,
that's
okay.
illegal in this part.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, them outlaws.
He was drinking whiskey.
Yeah,
Whiskey?
them's outlaws.
Why are they drinking whiskey? Them's outlaws.
I do find some of I do like Clancy Brown. I just feel like he was so wasted as just like that guy that gets murdered almost.
in
immediately.
the second saloon,
Yeah, it's like fuck.
It was hilarious how he fucking took his death.
I wasn't like I like the ending of this short the most, I think, out of all of them, because it at least gives you the anthology ending of like, well, learn my lesson. You know, like the anthology movies have that where like if the ending is going to be like, and that's why we'll get to it, the Oregon Trail story. I don't like it at all, except for the ending. I like the action of it, but it doesn't have a reasoning for her death. There is no moral to be learned. There is no, like, a good anthology movie is a representation of, like, the horror movie genre does them the best because these are evil people. They're going to get their comeuppance. This story is maybe not so evil. Look at VHS, is in my opinion, one of the shining examples where there's a central story, and then each story is broken down in a sub-central story, and then it all culminates toward the end. This didn't have that. This was less of an anthology movie and more of a chapter book come to life, and I have problems with that, and because I am an anthology movie fan.
Yeah, and in all honesty, I think the first one, the second one, I would say maybe the third one, the fourth one, and possibly the last one have an ending to them. That makes sense.
Well, so the one with James Franco, which is that the second one?
That's the second one, the bank robber.
The best part about that entire skit is Stephen Root, the banker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Best part about it, and like
Hand shot.
yeah,
I
pan
loved
shot
when
is
he was screaming that shit.
literally he's
Headshot.
and that's why I got so disappointed at the middle of this movie. Because you start out with Buster Scruggs, then you go to the
comedies.
Yeah, you got Stephen Root stealing the entire short, and then you go into Liam Neeson with really virtually very little dialogue and the depressed no-limbed guy. And I'm literally watching this with this with my, and we're gonna go. The whole thing is he's got no limbs. He puts on performances. He leaves a shit life, and he's with Liam Neeson. You don't know their relationship, but it seems basically Liam Neeson owns him, but he kind of takes care of him. And then as soon as he got out of that carriage and started walking towards that bridge, in my head, I out loud said, "Oh fuck!" And she goes, "What?"
I did the same.
My wife looks at me and goes, "What?" I go, "He's gonna toss him over the fucking bridge." And she's
then,
like,
then he chucks a rock over.
and then I knew it. And she goes, "No, I hope you're fucking wrong." And then the next scene is the bird's there, but he's not.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was fucked up. It was a fucked up story. That was a.
I don't hate it. It is the most in line with horror movie anthology stories.
Mm-hmm.
But
This one here, though, the Prospector, I really enjoyed.
I like with Tom Waite. I like Tom Waite because I think of him from Mystery Men as the gunmaker, the non-lethal gunmaker.
I love where he's like, "Mr. Pocket, I'm gonna find you."
Yeah, I'm gonna find you, Mr. Pocket. And he I'll be back as he's going to bed. He's talking to Mr. Pocket.
Yeah.
He's a tough old bastard. And you know, so that short is so basically the premise is he's an old timey what are they called, gold miner? technically.
He's a panner. He's a panner.
He's a panner,
Yeah.
and he finds a patch next to a riverbed or kind of a river, and he starts digging it up, and he starts finding specks until he's basically narrowing down that spectrum to where a pocket will be from where it runs off of. And that's his whole thing for the whole short. He's doing that, and then he finds it, and it's a very funny. He plays it very well. It's a very charming little short, and then he gets shot in the back.
So I want to point out something in that specific story, unlike in Infinite, and we'll get to it. In this short span, you really connect to him.
You like him.
He was next to land.
Yeah.
He didn't take all the eggs when he was in the bird.
He saw the owl, yeah.
I do wonder about that though. What was that owl? What did it represent? It wasn't just an owl. What did it represent?
I think it was more.
Because he was going to grab him, and he looked up, and there was the owl. And he's like,
And he saw the mom was watching. He's like, okay,
But the owl was shown twice.
I'm gonna leave you some kids.
It was shown in the beginning as well. There's some sort of significant. I don't know what it's supposed to look. Maybe it's just the watcher of the land.
Then it made the noise when the fucking guy got down into this thing, and that's where he got fucking popped.
Well, the other thing is owls are nocturnal, right?
Yeah.
Why is it wide awake in the middle of the day staring at him?
Well, it was giving him a chance to. I think it was like paying. It was paying back.
Yeah.
Since he didn't take all his children.
But and I do love how they filmed it
Eggs.
because a random guy who's been following him, watching him, shoots him in the back, and I like how when it starts off, it's a little bit of blood, and they pan back to the guy who shot him, and they pan back and there's more blood, and they pan back to the guy who shot him. He's rolling his cigarette, and then they pan back to the back, and like the whole back is covered in blood at this point.
Uh-huh.
But the tough old bastard he is, the guy even waits him out like he's dead. Not dead. What happens?
He fucking whoops his ass. The old man whoops his ass. Ends up shooting him in the face.
I do appreciate the gun smoke
multiple times
in the little area. The amount of gun smoke that comes up.
And what I love about it is they don't cut away.
No.
It's just an instant blah to the face. Like they got him good.
Yeah, it's a really cool scene.
And he's screaming at the same time like he's being murdered himself.
I mean, it gets surprisingly graphic when he starts looking at the exit wound. And he's like, went clean through, and he's all happy.
I felt bad. I honestly, so spoiler alert, he gets the gold, walks away.
The three
old man
big bags
wins.
full, too.
Yeah, the old man
He was
wins.
gonna die. Like when he got shot, I'm like, oh god, not another depressing.
And then when he fell asleep, he fell asleep, right?
I liked his relationship with his donkey, Lucky.
Lucky.
I like that, he had a very come on, Lucky.
Come on, Lucky.
Which anytime a character in a movie has a nice relationship with an animal, it's like, because I love my dog so much, it's like, I like this guy.
Yeah.
Here's how it starts though. Like this whole little short starts where he's in the fucking trees. He's not even out in the open. He's looking around. You can barely see him, and then he starts moving a little bit. You see him.
He's scoping the
He's
land.
actually he's making sure. So he was actually probably expecting somebody to be following him.
Yeah.
Well, I think the whole idea is when basically back then
When you're a prospector.
Yeah, when you found an area like that with a narrow river kind of going through, where on the downslope of a mountain, that's where the gold would run off from. So he knew what he was doing. He was good at it.
That's also the word we were looking for was prospector, not panner. Sorry.
Well, I mean, he is a panner though. I mean, that's how he got his
he was
gold.
panning for gold. He was a prospector.
And
which is the name of this short.
The fact that this short, the Buster short, even the Franco short's good, even the Liam Neeson short's decent, just horribly depressing, is the reason why the Oregon Trail short, I hate it so much. It's depressing, except for the ending I like, and we'll get into that.
It was a bit of bad acting though on their part.
Well, the guy who ends up proposing to her or wanting to propose to her, not what was up with him? He would have been.
He was a bad actor.
I feel like he would have been a good voice actor, but he had the facial expressions of a Toy Story character from the first one.
Yeah.
So and it's just boring. The whole thing is, it starts off with her family talking about how they're giving her away to a business partner of the father's. Then it's her walking beside him, and he's a fucking goon, a dumbass.
The brother, and they're I didn't like it from the beginning.
Yeah, he was a piece of garbage. He ends up dying most likely from tuberculosis, and she's on her own. And it's basically just follows kind of her. The boy who's running her carriage for her is threatening to, if she doesn't pay him, he's leaving immediately, and it's just soap opera drama. And then the main character, who's the one who's kind of fawning over her, literally isn't even the coolest character, because at the end of the short, and one of the other things is, one of the only other things that happens is the dog that her brother had, it won't stop barking. So the guy offers to go put it down.
President Pierce.
And it runs away. So then she hears it again, and basically she puts herself in a situation where Arthur, this guy who, the partner of the guy who's trying to court her, goes to find her and finds himself in a battle with, I mean, how many? 20?
Oh, shit. That was like 20, 30.
30 Indians. And the way he sets up his post and talks about how they're not very accurate, they fire him to make you afraid. We
have the benefit of the doubt because of the prairie dogs.
Yeah, the holes, like that was a legitimately badass scene. But you had to go through 25, 30 minutes of slug and just it's like when you play video games and you gotta grind for an hour to level up. That's what this part of the fucking movie was, and it slowed it to a dead stop for me.
It did, yeah. No, I understand. This movie had it roller coaster rode to the bottom real quick at this story.
Yeah, because the momentum goes from like, you got charming cowboys, you got hardcore violence, you got characters you like, and then all of a sudden it's nothing but depression about this poor girl who it was how a lot of them were treated back then, and finds herself alone. And then the ending, like the guy gives her a pistol. Alex, I'm sure it looks like you have thoughts on this one.
So he gives her a pistol and it's got 2 fucking shots in it. And she's like, okay. He's like, it's only got 2. And she's like, well, I'm not a good shot. She's like, no, you take it. He's like, no, it's not for that. He goes, here's what it's for. He goes, if we can't win this, he goes, I'm going to put you down first, and then I'm going to put one in myself.
Like a gentleman.
Because what they're going to do is going to be very, very much worse in the long run.
He explains it a little bit, too, where he says they're gonna strip you, do all the things to you, then they're gonna
strip you, they're gonna rape you, they're gonna stretch you out.
Hides.
Yeah, like a hide, and then they're gonna get worse.
Alex has seen.
You shoot yourself. It's like, and you put a bullet right here so you don't miss. And I'm like,
so you don't miss.
Alex has seen Bone Tomahawk, so like, he's not wrong. I don't know if you've seen that movie, Giovanni, but it is a really violent. Yeah. Your grandpa, I'm sure, has shown it to you.
He spells it out for her and tells her, like, this is what's going to happen. So what this gun is for you to put it right between your head, like you said, Giovanni, and you know, make sure you don't miss.
If he dies, kill yourself.
If he dies before he gets anywhere.
And give it to Arthur. He's a fucking badass.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
he's been through the.
He was quiet the whole time.
Years.
He was just a moaning grunter.
And you know what they do touch upon, but I actually would have preferred if they would have had more scenes between Arthur and the other guy, was they have a lovely relationship. They've been together for 15 years and they're partners, but it only kind of touches upon it. And I felt that was a wasted, like that would have been, their dynamic was much more interesting than her and the guy's dynamic to me.
I think part of the problem was Arthur's character supposed to be non-emotional. He's been through this business. He's gone the mile. The problem was Arthur's friend, who's supposed to be the main love interest.
He's tired and he's lonely.
He was tired and lonely. Yeah.
He didn't know how to express that. Like he didn't know how to. The actor didn't know how to express that.
Yeah.
So you don't have that dual.
Again,
it's the same side.
That's why I say there was a lot of bad actors in this segment of the movie.
It was almost like in a video game, like an NPC, where the lines of dialogue were just kind of thrown out there rather than acted.
And they're said in the same tone every time.
Yeah, his tone of like, well,
hey traveler,
you know,
I told you to come over here.
His tone from like there was no difference between him going, well, I suggest you tell him you're going to pay him for right now, to, yeah, I can put the dog down for you. Like, there's no difference in his tone, and I don't know if that was the way by design, or if it's just shit acting. But he was a weird character.
His tone was like almost like the Jumanji guy that introduces everybody. You know, the one that tells you, hey, this is what you have to do. You have to go over here.
Or restart.
And if you say yeah. When you say the wrong thing, he says it again. Hey, you have to do this, and you have to go over here.
Yeah.
It was like the same tone every time.
He's the guy that no matter what's going to have the same dialogue bubble when you click on him in Final Fantasy. Like, yeah. Yeah, no, I I agree, and that's maybe that's one of the problems I had because there was nobody to like, there was nobody I liked in that short until Arthur showed who he was at the end.
Yeah.
I was all in for those last 5 minutes, but leading up to it, man, like we ended up pausing it at that because like Jen got tired because it just dragged. And I'm normally okay with that, but I didn't give two shits about the subject matter. The writing
that was like the last 30 minutes of the movie too.
The writing wasn't well done. There wasn't any good script in there. The acting was shit. The subject of the Oregon Trail is interesting if it isn't all focused on this widow.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ending of it's so disappointing because she gets spooked. Because he literally takes on an entire force of Indians, Native Americans, however you want to fucking call them. He takes and he picks a lot of them off. The chief gets taken out by one of the prairie dog holes, and when he tells you, basically, if I die, shoot yourself. If I'm alive, I'll kill you first. I'll do you the favor of killing you for you.
Right.
And he wipes them out, and he comes back, and what does he find?
Well, no. He gets caught by somebody hiding on the side of the horse, who
hits him in the head. Like
he's their stealth guy, so he was actually on the side of the horse.
That scene too, when he goes to scalp him and
he pops him in the head.
That was cool.
Oh, that was awesome.
Which
with no emotion.
That bullet shot must have happened at the same time
because he had the mark.
Must have been.
You're right.
No.
You don't hear.
You never hear the second shot. You never hear her shot.
Yeah,
because he's laying there for a while.
She must have thought that. That is true. You don't hear the second shot.
Yeah. So Giovanni and I were both waiting.
That might be
for her to actually shoot him.
That might
Giovanni
be
and I were waiting for. Yeah, I got you.
What I thought was going to happen. I thought she was going to jump up and shoot the Indian.
I thought she was going to save Arthur. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was actually. It was a twist when I found out she ended up killing herself.
Yeah, because it's like what? Like why?
Yeah.
It's such a why.
Now at this point, Arthur sees her, respectfully covers her, realizes, oh shit, I gotta tell
Billy.
But that's the thing. He doesn't care that she's dead. The only thing he cares about is, I gotta break this news to my friend.
Yeah.
Doesn't care. Like, he literally, when he looks at her, it's the same thing of like, that's a shame to drop all those eggs on the floor. Like, he's got that look of just like, what a waste. And then the actual pain he feels is knowing, and that's the last line of that story where it's like he had no idea how he was going to tell Billy. Like, and once again, that's where they touch upon that relationship, but they focus on the other relationship, and it's a fucking waste. I
think it would have been better if that would have ended where Billy came to find him in the middle of him covering her up. Like, you know what I mean? And then him explaining to her, hey, I'm sorry this happened. Like, go through the explanation. Have them both walk back to the trail.
Yeah, I did feel all of these shorts ended too quickly.
There was no final. There was no finish to it.
Yeah,
except for the prospector.
That was the only one that had
that's the only one that finished the way I liked it.
Yeah, it was that. The prospector is the best of the shorts as far as structure is concerned. I think
I would have loved to see Liam Neeson try to bring the chicken out, and then he didn't know the trick of how to make the chicken fucking do the thing, and it failed. I would have loved to see that ending.
Oh, like after he pitched the guy and show that he's a failure without the guy.
Right. Yeah. And then to show that he didn't know that there was a trick to make the chicken fucking pick the numbers.
Yeah, that would where it shows his like
it would.
And a good anthology movie would have shown him get his comeuppance.
Yep. And that would have been fucking perfect right there.
100%, I agree. Yeah, that's part of the problem, is the people that should get their comeuppance don't, and half, if not more, of the stories feel like, wait, I could have used 5 more minutes to wrap that up.
Yep.
It's like, what happened?
I mean, the movie was fucking what, 2 hours and 18 minutes long.
It wasn't short.
No. They could have took out like 2 songs or maybe 1 song from Buster Scruggs.
No, leave him. Take out 15 minutes from Oregon Trail and the bitch, and we'll throw that into. We'll take out 2 minutes of Liam Neeson holding the guy's dick while he pisses, and we'll take some more. I'll take more Buster Scruggs.
But that showed his dedication of that he actually was invested in the guy in some way.
For that the Liam Neeson story and the cripple, I wish there was more dialogue between them. Like, talking about, like, do you think we're not getting money? Why do you think we're failing? Maybe a couple fights, something that shows their connection to each other.
Also,
I'm sorry, but the only thing I can think of every time I saw him was Dudley. He's Dudley from fucking Harry Potter.
well,
Yeah.
did anyone
He's the cousin.
anyone get the vibe that Liam Neeson raped him
Because he said he had sex once.
and he kind of like looked at him in that weird way?
I
Like,
didn't get that vibe. I got the vibe,
wow.
especially when Neeson was getting drunk. I thought
When he
maybe
turned-
he beat him.
see, I got the
Oh.
vibe that at some point Liam Neeson got drunk and tried to have sex with him. But it was just because of the way he kind of said, like, and he turns, and then he makes the guy sit in there and turn around and listen to you have sex. Like, Liam Neeson was such a piece of
And
shit.
then he's strapped to the chair with a fucking belt around him.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I didn't. That story was another one of those like art pieces that just makes me feel like shit from the moment you start watching it to the ending. Like, there is no release on that. And I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it as it is, but I hated that that's how it felt watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final one is which I actually quite like this one. Oh, sorry.
The Mortal Remains.
Did you have something else to say?
Remains. I don't like the way it ends, though.
Wait,
Did it leave you thinking or what?
wait. Which one's the Mortal Remains? Is it the final?
That's the last one.
Wait,
That's the last.
I thought that was called the Horseman or whatever.
No. So there's what's his name? The Legend of
Ballad of-
the Ballad of whatever. Then there's Near Alga. I can't say that word.
Let's just skip it.
Algodones, and then there's Meal Ticket, which is Liam Neeson. All Gold Canyon. The Girl Who Got Rattled is this one, and then The Mortal Remains.
I didn't realize that was the title of the last one.
Yeah,
I
Mortal
liked
Remains.
it. Once again, though, the mystique of the horseman who doesn't stop is only just lightly brushed upon.
Yeah.
And then to me, I still got a very weird vibe from the end of it when the French guy kind of puts his hat on and looks into the camera. To me, like, is that him signifying he's the Reaper? Is this in the real world or is this in the afterlife?
I thought this was going to get a little bit mystical, especially with the horseman rider. I thought the two guys in the carriage were like Death and maybe his companion.
Yeah,
Like-
that's Mad Eye Moody and the other dude. Yep,
That's the thing is like it.
the English and Irish.
I kind of it feels to me like that is the horseman not stopping is almost like the West's version of the River Styx. Like, were they all already dead? Was that why when she had her fucking little attack, that's whatever killed her? You know, like the trapper. They like, are they all already dead? And whatever the dude from Gangs of New York and the other guy, were they the ferryman? And the horseman was, like, there's symbology in that, but once again they cut it off right when it gets good. Literally right as in the horror movie realm, at least, right as it would get good. End of the movie, books closed.
Well, the English and Irishmen tell the story about how when they said, well, what do you do? And they start saying, well, we kind of feel like we're the reapers of things.
Yeah.
And then we like to we do this, we do that, we kill people, whatever. But then he goes, I also like to see people try to figure out what's going on, whether it's real or not,
before they die.
So is
Yeah.
he saying, like, is it almost like the Sixth Sense where most times they don't know they're dead?
Right. And I think that was a look from the trapper. That was a look from the lady who's right here, Cagney and Lacey lady, and then the Frenchman. And I think that's when the Frenchman saw the horse guy go back, the carriage, and then he saw the go back the other way, and then he put his head and he was like, okay, I realize now.
Like, he knows he's dead.
Yeah, and now he realized it.
And because wasn't there a line about, like, checking into a hotel as well? There was a weird line about that. Like, it's almost like that's like kind of what the Hotel California song is about.
Exactly.
But it's all goddamn speculation. They give and I hate that about it. I don't want.
This is the only one.
Go ahead.
Sorry, this is the only one I actually think, as far as the little bits of stories that they gave from the Englishman and Irishman, that you can actually speculate and kind of actually make a decision for me.
Well,
that's the only one.
Buster Scruggs, Plain Jane. You know what's up.
Yeah. Yeah.
James
And
Franco,
then
you know what's up.
James Franco's, yeah.
Liam Neeson, you know what's up, but there's a lot of like what the fuck that you could explore.
Yeah.
Prospect's the best story. Well,
That was a finish
I
for
like
me.
the Buster Scruggs because of the violence so much. It's a really cool short. But the Prospect's the best short, best well-rounded. Oregon Trail's the shittiest. And the last one with it just my mind, and I've done this so many times on this show, always goes to the what if, and it's like, especially since we started reviewing movies, I'm tired of the what if. Like, I'm tired of movies making me develop scenarios that it could have pursued.
That end open-endedly.
Yeah. Like like, here's the thing. We're
Kind
gonna
of
go,
like our old job over at the B&B.
and just to bring up the next movie, right?
Here's your open end.
We're gonna be a little bit negative on it because it's not a great movie, but I can say it starts and it ends. There's a definitive, even though there's questions because the lore is kind of stupid, they set a path and complete it. And the problem I had with the Buster Scruggs Ballad of the anthology series, only a couple paths get completed.
It would also been nice, like when they went in there. Oh, wait, who was the person that they carried in? I forgot the name
I don't remember the
that
name
they
either.
pulled off the top, the dead body.
They said his
They
name.
did
I don't
say
remember it though.
who it was.
Shit.
Yeah.
Started
It
with a
wasn't
T.
Buster, was it?
No.
No.
Okay, they didn't say Buster's real name or anything.
No.
See, now that would have been fucking cool. Like when they pulled him off, if they would have said that was Buster, then it would all came back full circle.
What I don't understand is why didn't they use Buster himself as the connecting tissue to each short?
Even when they pulled the two guys who pulled Buster's body away, it could have been the two fucking guys sitting in the damn cart.
Like,
Yeah.
like, why don't you do it this way, right? If the hotel that they're checking into is the afterlife, why don't you have Buster coming out of it as they go in? Like, pardon me, ma'am, and he's got a hole in his hat.
That would
Yeah.
be
Like,
guys.
Yeah.
build it. Like, give me something to connect the tissue. But and that's probably my biggest issue with this movie is they don't give you that connecting tissue, and my stupid ADD riddled brain has to fucking fill the void, and it fills it with all sorts of crazy shit that could have been cool.
Well, I think
It's 3 years later, but let's write the fucking Coens brothers and tell them to fucking edit this shit.
Nasty email with lots of quotations and exclamation points.
We want a Snyder cut.
I'm gonna wait.
I
I'm
think-
gonna finger wag it.
I think the Coen brothers focused more on the fact that they wanted the stories to revolve around westerns and the feel of westerns, the idea of westerns,
Yeah, but-
the music of
Yeah,
westerns.
but Western, you gotta remember, at the same time, you have Cajun lore. So the voodoo and the mystics of the Westerns was there. They could have explored it. Afterlife goes in anywhere. You can throw the death and afterlife into any setting and it'll work because there's always been violence in this world. So, like, you could have still explored the concept of this is all in, like, they could have done something. They could have gone into the hotel and shown certain things. They could have gone into the hotel and
Well,
shown.
they did.
Yeah, but what if on the wall they got Buster's hat and they
Yeah,
got
they-
the prospect's pan? You know?
And
They
then
did-
that's why I was
they did
excited
show-
for the last one because of the mysticism. I wanted more mysticism. It was a little bit in the
Yeah.
first one. Buster flying off to heaven, singing. You know what I mean?
That was a
Yeah.
very interesting duet.
Yes.
That was a good song. I liked it.
That was a good. The whole Buster short's top notch.
There was that scene though when the Frenchman's sitting at the door and you see the Irishman and the Englishman and they're dragging the body up the stairs.
Yeah.
In the background, I like that. That was kind of cool, but there was no finish to it. There was no ending.
And like that's such a cool concept of like them being reapers as they call themselves. Like I'd like to see a short story just on them doing their job.
And then the conversations that they have, you're the boss. You're the boss.
Yeah.
It made
Like, no,
sense. When the motel doors opened, those stairs led to light. That could have been limbo. You know what I mean? Go
That
up
could
like-
have them literally been leading them to heaven. Like does the dead body represent somebody who's going to heaven and the ones who are on the ferry are in limbo? Has the body crossed over?
Yeah,
When he says
yeah.
when they talk about, somebody wanted him real bad, they paid a lot for him. Is that God calling the soul? Like you could have played with things there, and they maybe they meant to. Maybe the whole point is to just a smidge, but I wanted more.
Hey, you had one successful interview with brothers. Maybe you should try to.
Yeah.
Tweet these
I would.
guys.
I'd believe me. I'd love to. I'd love to. But the problem is like much like with the brothers from Fat Man, is it's trying to control the fanboy. Because I'm a huge Coen Brothers fan. I mean, Big Lebowski is one of my favorite movies. Well, Old Brother for No.
Say it again.
Oh brother, where art thou? I was literally mixing up Oh Brother with No Country for Old Men, and I was gonna say Oh Brother for No Country for Old Men. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is up in my top 10 along with Big Lebowski. So it's like Fargo's good. It's not one of my I like it, but it's not. I'm a big fan of theirs. So it's
I'm not on the Big Lebowski train. I like the movie, but I didn't think it was fucking. Oh my god. Everybody else says.
I love that movie. I love it. Like, people love the dude, and as great as he is, I'm a supporting cast. Like, I love Walter. I love Donnie. I love Philip Seymour Hoffman as the nervous assistant to Mr. Lebowski. Like, the movie's just the nihilists. And Walter's reaction of, they're nihilists, Donnie. They believe in nothing. Fuck them. Like, it's just, the whole flip out scene where he pulls a fucking Colt 911 on the guy for stepping on the line. And that's one of the reasons why the short, like the Oregon Trail one, is so disappointing, because even in moments in their other movies of just talk, the dialogue is brilliant, and the dialogue in that it was lackluster, and the acting was to double down even shittier.
Is this another reason why we probably can't find any budget for this movie anywhere?
It was
a made for Netflix fucking thing.
There's no budget, there's no box office, there's nothing. For the next movie really either. That's why I know, Lewis, we try to maintain the we did it last week with the budget and everything, but there's just that data we were searching is not there because it was direct to streaming, and they're not going to release their numbers like
the only thing I found for this one was, we estimate that with inflation from Oh Brother. Like, no, I'm looking for the fucking budget.
And I'm just going to say this: Oh Brother, Where Art Thou was a completely different production. It's a full production.
That movie cost $30 million to make, by the way. Just to give you a ballpark.
This movie the entire movie could have been made on a sound studio.
Yeah.
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou was actually live filming, and there was a lot more involved in that movie than anything in this one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do last thoughts, and then we'll give it the hot dogs.
All right,
Giovanni, this is your pick. You go first.
Okay, so I do like this movie. It has really great highs, but when it hits its lows, they're really powerful lows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it started off strong. I think it ended strong, but it left you wanting more. Like Matt said, I want a complete movie. It should have been a complete movie. Tie the stories together somehow.
I feel like had they put the Oregon Trail story as the second story, the flow would have been much better.
It might have been a little different.
Because the nice thing about it is the ending does have a lot of action, and it's pretty cool. So if you would have flowed from that into the James Franco story, I think it would have been a much better flow than doing it for one thing, it's at least twice as long.
So they spent their wad at the beginning, huh?
Well, it's at least twice as long as the last short. And it feels 3 times as long because of how slow it is. I think if they would have just kept it the way it is, but put it second, it would have been a better flow. You wouldn't have been so bogged. Right as you're starting to get kind of like, all right, come on. The movie would have picked right back up to the action at the end of that story.
The Oregon?
And then led into everything else. But
the Oregon one, I think, was about 20-something minutes. Because every time a new one would start, I would check the time. Because I watched it.
Was it one of the longest, or does it just feel that way?
I think it might have been the longest.
Okay.
That one or the Prospector might have been long.
The Prospector was a long one, yeah.
Yeah, but I did feel that the Liam Neeson one with the meal ticket, that's what it was called. I did feel like that was long because you kept hearing the same speech over and over. But I'm mistaking repetitiveness with how long.
That one I think was probably only 10 minutes because it wasn't very long that it went from the dude first being seen to being pitched over the goddamn mountain or the bridge.
Yeah, but I think the Prospector was the longest, and then the gal who got what is it called? Got rattled. I think that was I don't know. They were both kind of
and here's the thing, and here's the perfect.
But I did enjoy the Prospector one.
And that's the thing though. The Prospector one was one of the longest ones, but it's also one of my favorite. Long's not a bad thing. Long and boring, and here's the thing. The Prospector one just had him and one other dude for part of it. and it
But it
was
him and Lucky.
and it was way
most of it.
it was way better because it was you cared about the guy. It was just a dude doing what he does in the Old West. It's beautiful. They film it in this beautiful landscape. It's nothing but 4K sceneries. And then you go to like the Oregon Trail one, which if you did it right, the fact that you're seeing this trail going, it's neat. You can, but they just go the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. No,
Wait, did we give hot dogs? Did you guys give hot dogs?
No, not yet.
not yet.
But yeah, my final thoughts too is yeah, everything that Giovanni was saying about it.
Yeah, it's just that center point is hard to get over. That like you literally have to get past that bullshit to get to the rest of the good.
You got 50 and 50. You got 50 and 50. The reason why I say 50-50 because of the 3 and 3 movies or shorts. The last one, it could have done more. I did like the way it ended.
The dialogue was great.
I wanted more. Yeah. That whole all 5 of them were fucking phenomenal together.
And that's the thing is, it's such a good scene. That's why you want more. Because like even the trapper, who's supposed to be a countryman dumbass, is speaking very intelligently, very eloquently, using big words. So the dialogue between them was brilliant. That was the best dialogue in the movie.
What made it hilarious to me was that he was saying like, "I'm a man of little words," but that motherfucker would not shut the fuck up.
And then he's waving the hat on her. And she's like, could you stop that?
Please stop
because you know what, the fucking hat stinks. It's a dead animal.
It smelled. Yeah.
And he's been out in the woods for, I don't come out every, but every 2 times a year or so I come up and get my, it's like.
Who turned out to be the pitcher from fucking Major League, which you did not know.
Dude,
I told you about that.
I knew the voice, but I didn't put the 2 together. And I do remember when they got out of the wagon and he was so much taller. Then, he looks in the wagon. I was like, that motherfucker's tall. I should have put 2 and 2. I had no idea until you told me right before we started.
Yeah, I guess his name is Chelsea Ross. I did not know his name was Chelsea Ross.
If you're a fan of Major League, he's the pitcher that cheats with the jalapeno up in the nostrils.
He's the overaged.
Well, he's the one that's he drinks Buju's alcohol. And
then he gets hit in the head with the bat.
Yeah. The bat goes wild and it ends up hitting him. And so the one player is a voodoo. He's into voodoo, and he always prays to Buju, his god, before he goes out there.
Jabu.
And Jabu. And he leaves a little thing of alcohol. And this guy was kind of fuck you and fuck your God. He's all about Jesus Christ.
He's a Christian. Yeah, he's a Christian.
And so he drinks it, and then he's just walking down, and somebody slips a bat out of their hand during practice, and it knocks him clean out, and which sets up Charlie Sheen coming in. There's one of my favorite scenes also. The guy is actually the Allstate guy who plays the voodoo guy. He was the president in 24.
Yeah.
And he towards the end when he's not hitting right, he basically has the Arnold Schwarzenegger talking to Kroll, where he's like, if you're not going to help me, then I say fuck you, Jubu. And he goes out and hits a home run. It's very much the same thing of Schwarzenegger in fucking Conan.
My buddy always fucking says, "Fuck you, Jobo," and I'm like, it's not my nephew he's talking about. Just stop saying Jobo.
You know what, man? I literally love. I don't care. I love all 3 Major League movies. I don't give a fuck. I like all 3. The first one's the best. The second one is good because it's got Tom Berenger in it still. The third one gets off the rails. I love them all.
The Cleveland Guardians?
Yeah, the Cleveland Guardians. We talked about the titles I suggested to the NHL and MLB, but I don't think they're going to approve them anytime soon. We talked before. You'll never see those clips.
They changed the name of the Cleveland Indians to Cleveland Guardians. For anybody who cares.
Yeah. And the problem is, you can't even redo Major League now with the Indians because they're not going to have, remember the dude, Randy Quaid with the drums in the second one? They were the super fan.
I love Randy Quaid. Too high. No, it's too high. What the hell do you mean too high?
Well, the one dude from Scrubs.
Joanne, you got to watch it, dude. You got to watch it.
Have you ever watched Scrubs?
Oh, yeah.
Neil Flynn, the janitor. He's in the beginning of Major League, they have people talking about the team, just regular working Joes, be like, yeah, they fucking suck this year. And they're talking, and it's the janitor. He's one of them. Just he was also in The Fugitive. He's the cop on the train. They actually point that out in Scrubs. There's an episode where JD explores his past and finds out that he was an actor before, and they use the footage from The Fugitive to they actually break kind of a fourth wall on that one, which is a good episode. But yeah, no, there's Corbin Bernstein, who, if you don't know who he was big in the '80s. He's like, there's one line in the movie where, so Corbin Bernstein's on his way out of baseball. He's going to retire soon, and he
Is that the
basically
catcher?
no, that's the I want to say third base or shortstop.
Oh, the shortstop.
Yeah, the shortstop, and he purposely doesn't get in the way of a ball, and it ends up with a home run, and they lose. And
I don't want to take a shiner.
yeah, Tom Berenger goes to his house, and he's like, "Hey, it looked like you tanked that ball, man." And he gives him this whole speech of like, "I got stuff after baseball. I'm not taking any." And Tom Berenger literally, he looks at him and he goes, "If I ever see you tank another ball like that again, I'm gonna take it and shove it down your fucking throat," and like walks out. And meanwhile, his wife is just standing there with like iced tea, and she's just got this look on her face, like, But no, if you haven't seen Major League, it's a good
don't
rated
give any
R
more of it.
80s comedy, and you don't even have to love baseball, really. Like I like baseball,
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of it.
Giovanni, you would love it. It's fucking full comedy, fucking ready to go.
There's a couple movies like that, like if in the hockey spectrum, Goon or Slapshot. Slapshot's older, set in it's the 70s with Paul Newman. Goon is a modern day version of it, where basically Sean William Scott is a hockey player that he's just a bruiser. Like, he doesn't have any special skill, and it's about him basically trying to take on Liev Schreiber, who's like he's been in the league for 2 decades. He's the
Manchurian candidate of the hockey team.
He's the badass of the league. That movie is boring as fuck.
The Manchurian candidate.
Yeah, dude, it's a boring ass movie. Anyways, let's give hot dogs. Giovanni, how many out of 5 for Ballad of Buster Scruggs and his racist writings?
Yeah.
There's no racism in the movie. It just fits the whole motif.
I would watch this again. I thought it was a good story. There were some parts that needed to be extended. Left too much for open endings, but I would give it a 3.5 out of 5. 3.5 out of 5.
Alex?
For me, I would wait for the director's cut.
There's gonna be one. It's direct to Netflix. There's no Snyder cut for the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
There's, like I said, there's only 50% of this movie that I really loved, and I don't know. It was the first. It was the prospector in the end. I kind of like the Franco one, but I mean, it by the time it ended, I was kind of like, oh, okay.
I feel like they would have been better off releasing these in 15-minute episodes where they release 6 in a span of a month or something.
Kind of like the Matrix. What is it called? The Matrix,
animated one.
Animation one. Yeah.
Yeah, where you give people a little bit of snippets. Because the parts are greater than the sum of the whole. Like the pieces individually are better. You can leave them open ended since it's just here's a 15-minute short. But put together in a movie,
when you make it an anthology, it's like, okay, you didn't finish it.
Well, not only that, but you don't have the connecting anthology tissue. So like these are much better as separate episodes than an anthology.
Yeah. But for me, with all that being said, I'm gonna go with 2 hot dogs because I did enjoy it, but it there was like a lot of holes for me going through, and when it's 50% of the movie that I'm having holes, two 2 dogs with a little bit of ketchup.
You mean
I know people
mustard,
don't like ketchup.
So
no, I mean because you don't put ketchup on hot dogs.
I just had this argument with my dad.
So I put a little bit of ketchup.
He is a ketchup never even looks at a hot dog.
Who's that?
And my dad. And he goes, and I go, that's only in fucking Chicago. I go, the rest of the country puts ketchup on their fucking hot dog. I go, how is the rest of the country wrong? Because I'm the type where if I only have ketchup and like mustard, I will maybe put a little ketchup on it. If I have onion, relish, mustard, no, it never touches it. Doesn't need to. But have you ever had ketchup on a hot dog? It's pretty fucking good.
Well, I think this is the reason why they don't do ketchup on a hot dog in Chicago. Because they have to pay extra for the fucking condiment.
See, I think it goes back
That's why they have the packages for your fries.
I think it goes back to the old steel days in the industrial sector where because they're in factories all day, they couldn't fucking taste anything, and mustard was the only thing that could cut through the palate. Ketchup wouldn't do shit because it was just a tomato base.
I've got the black lung.
Besides, mustard's older than ketchup, right? Like, it's been around longer
Is
in
it?
humanity, hasn't it?
God.
Because mustard was a seed. I mean, ketchup, I'm sure they had tomato. You know, but
I don't know.
Like, that's the thing is, like, I'm pretty sure mustard's been used as a condiment longer than ketchup.
We'll have to do that in a live show.
Because think about all of, like, the European nations that have had, like, bread and meat and mustards and things like that, as opposed, like, mustard's not a new concept. But so I don't know why we went on a hot dog there. I'm with Alex with two. Now I want to fucking. I'm like a pregnant fucking woman right now. I got taste for it. We talk about.
We
Burger
had hot
King.
dogs and Polishes for dinner tonight.
We talk about Burger King. I want a goddamn Whopper. We talk about hot dogs. I'm gonna go upstairs and fucking grill some. Anyways, I'm right there with Alex. I'm doing two. The biggest problem is not just the fact that it's slow in that Oregon Trail part, but the pacing of the entire thing was off. I feel that it shouldn't have been an anthology because there's no connecting tissue. There's not one thing that connects any other story to the rest. Not even even if they could have literally just done a little Buster's hat on the wall somewhere, somewhere connected. They couldn't even do that. That annoyed me. If they would,
or at least somebody walking in the background with a white fucking suit,
something like even if it's not
just to tie
Buster
it in some way,
something. Show James Franco's horse with the rope still on him running. Show something. And that's the biggest flaw I think in this is it's not an anthology because there's nothing to connect it. And so I think there's a couple faux pas they made. First off, the faux pas of it's not an anthology yet you're labeling it that, and the pacing, the acting in the Oregon Trail is shit. The prospect's the best. The dialogue is really good in a lot of it. But it's
only one man and his horse or his mule.
Yeah, I really think the biggest problem is every single short except for maybe Oregon Trail and the Liam Neeson one. I wanted more, and even the Liam Neeson one, I wanted more to understand that character more. You know, they kind of just present you with an armless, legless man who's obviously has a terrible life, and that's kind of it. So it's like, how did they meet? Is it his
He's
father?
Very smart. He's very smart, but limited. Yeah.
If it's his father, then it's very much when he throws him over. It's very different than if it's not his father.
Yeah.
If it's his father, it's a man who has dealt with this for however many old years the kid is old, and he just can't take it anymore. If it's not his father, it's an asshole businessman throwing away his old merchandise. You know, there's too much room for me to have to fill in the gaps on my own.
Think about it.
And that, to me, feels incomplete, and that's why it's a 2. I also, especially on the show, judge things harshly. Giovanni, his reviews are a little inflated right now. At some point...
I'm easy to please.
Yeah.
So.
and after enough movies, there's going to be like, I wanted more, goddammit. Like, there's going to be that breaking point of like, no, this movie's a fucking 2, and I'm going to tell you why. I was going to say Giovanni's like the next movie. We are going to take a quick break. We will be back.
We'll watch Dark City. I was saying it in Giovanni's voice.
You don't talk a bad word.
I was saying it in
Dark
Giovanni's
City.
voice.
I will argue anybody who hates that movie. I punch my wife in the mouth because she doesn't like it. I don't care.
We'll see.
She talks bad about it one more time in front of me.
She's going to have 2 black eyes?
I only have to tell her one. She's a smart gal. We will be back with Infinite, one of, I believe, Giovanni's picks of the year. We'll be right back with you.
Hello. Welcome back. We're on to...
Creepy face Giovanni hour.
So the second movie is Infinite.
I think we're going to be straight up just to lay this out. This isn't going to be a long review.
No, it's
I think there's some stuff to talk about, but it's
there's stuff to talk about, but it's not gonna be like fucking.
And I think that's my biggest. Before we get into my biggest problem with the movie is it feels like a movie that was made to be one of those movies that you're supposed to deep dive and what do you think of this mythology, and it falls so flat in that department that like there's really not a whole lot to discuss about the mythology, unfortunately.
Well, that's the sad part. So like in Buster Scruggs, where they left you for wanting more, this whole movie is where's the rest?
Yeah.
Like the whole movie
You literally
Eh,
don't know any.
guess.
You don't really get much of the past of the lore. You get this. Basically, this story is like the entire lore, and the concept is like, well, this has been. It's that old like this war has been going on for millennia type thing between, and it's just so tired out, and they don't add anything new to the formula either.
They don't, and then the main character they try like when you meet. I was gonna say Mark Ruffalo's.
When you meet the Wahlbergers,
Evan,
Yes.
Mark Walberg,
When you meet Mr. Wahlberg's main character,
Evan,
what's his name?
Evan.
Is Evan? Yeah, when you meet Evan, they shoehorn his entire story into what 5 minutes?
it's literally
Into him being a sociopath
Yeah.
or
basically
schizophrenic. There you go.
basically they give him 5 or 10 minutes just to justify why this meatbag has got the soul in him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you don't know anything else about him.
It's all in the job interview too.
Yeah.
Like all the past you find out about him is like through that job interview, basically.
And that's it.
Yeah, a little bit later when he's got the
Continue.
monologue, when he's like, when he's talking about how he's schizophrenic and this and that, and the only reason they have that in there is because it's a catalyst to those are actually his memories, not schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, they shoehorn it in there.
It happens at adolescence. Yeah.
Yeah, which and then that's the other thing. Like the movie doesn't give mystery. It doesn't let you connect any dots because it literally, she tells him, oh, it hits puberty. It starts when you by most times they have full memory by puberty, and then rather than letting the audience go, oh, that's when he was locked up for schizophrenia, he goes, just about the time I got schizophrenia, and it's like.
But it's also halfway through the movie.
Yeah, but it's like why are you like
Repeating
in the movie we
it's
just
redundant.
Yeah, in the movie we just reviewed, I'm over here like give me more. And this one I'm like stop holding my fucking hand. I'm kind of a movie goer. You don't have to tell me.
And then the flow of the movie, and Matt we discussed this off camera. Matt has told me that this director's movie flow is normally awkward.
Antoine Fuqua?
Yeah, this one goes off the rail.
I compare it to The Equalizer because The Equalizer, both 1 and 2, but 2 not as to the same extent, has kind of an off pacing with its action scenes. But once again, this is the same guy who did Olympus Has Fallen and Angel Has Fallen, so it's like he knows how to do a balls to the wall, die hard esque action movie. So it's like. I'm a little confused why he did choose. Like, this movie should have been 80% action, 20% dialogue. And it wasn't. It was like 60-40 maybe? 50-50? I don't know.
About right. And it sucks because the action scenes in this movie are actually pretty good.
Minus the shitty CG.
Yeah, some of the CG was rough. But the fight scenes were pretty good. The gun scenes.
Oh, he did Shooter too?
Yeah, he did Shooter as well, which is another oddly paced action thriller. You remember that one? There's a whole lot of talking and then every now and then some violence.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he did do Training Day, which is, I love that movie.
It's a good movie. It does have an awkward pace to it, but it fits. It works.
I would argue that if you're looking for a movie like Training Day, but you want more drama and more of a consistent flow of the storyline, I would check out the movie Narc. The movie Narc is really dark. It's Ray Liotta and his longtime partner gets killed. And he's basically...
And the guy from Speed 2.
Yeah, he's in
Jason Patrick.
He plays opposite. And basically Jason Patrick gets brought in to investigate this cop's death. And Ray Liotta is his former partner who is pushing for the investigation because he doesn't believe what happened actually happened. And it's just a dark, gritty movie. Kind of like what this is the other movie we were talking about is, but it's got a better Training Day. It's got that level of kind of gritty and darkness, but I think it's set in Detroit maybe, and it's got a nicer flow. Okay. I don't remember who directs that one, but that one's I love that one. It's a hard movie to watch though because it gets rough.
Okay.
So you were saying?
Mm-hmm. So the one thing I like about it, and this is coming from an atheist. This is honestly kind of a background battle in a religious setting. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like the bad guy, the leader of the bad guys wants to find out, I'm given this gift to live my life through multiple bodies to be reborn over and over and over. How does that fit into God's plan?
And then you got the good guys, quote unquote,
Well, if you look at it from the biblical
who are trying to
sense,
better it.
you could very much look at it as the guardians or the good guys are the angels who have embraced the gift of immortality.
Yeah.
And the other side are the people who are the fallen. And they're tired of living under the rule of something they cannot control. And they want to, you can go that route with it. You could also take it in the route of it's the same old superhero fucking movie where it's this side protects humanity, this side doesn't understand why they can't control and destroy everything.
I think what the director tried to do was take that, which you think it's been done before, and he tried to put his own twist on it, but it didn't work as well as I guess he hoped.
Then they shoehorn in the whole magic thing. Where he can,
that part I wasn't understanding.
Was the whole thing he can bend the air? Is he an airbender? Like, what is the whole concept?
He figured out a way to absorb his abilities or whatever it was
with like the element of life.
Yeah,
life and kind of like a chi thing, I think.
And I got that vibe too, and I was worried that they were basically going to be like, it's all because of Tai Chi, and I was like, what in the fuck? Like,
well, there was a lot of.
Then I would have been waiting for Jackie Chan to come out, but
no, he's communist, can't do it.
On the villain side,
Tai Chi.
For a movie on the villain side, there was a lot of Christian Catholic religious undertones. Let me see God. A lot of the old way torture, but on the hero side, it was more of a Buddhist monk aspect.
Yeah, it was more or less like it was almost that kind of vibe of like. You could even break it down to like almost like an alien invasion movie. Like here's the sect of alien invaders that want to live amongst humanity, and here's the sect that wants to destroy. I mean, but and really there's really only one villain. Everybody around the villain that works with him is just kind of like, even the blonde chick is just like another henchman.
Yeah. Just a henchman.
So
I'm here to do your bidding.
Another weird thing, like the main villain, I want to end. I want to stop reliving.
Yeah.
I want to stop being reborn.
Would you understand?
Yeah, totally.
Well, when he explains it, yes, it does become understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we talked about this off air before we got into this.
But he wanted to end all humanity. That's a different thing.
And this is definitely deep into the spoilers territory, but the concept of him doing that is if he kills himself or dies, he's going to infinitely be reborn. So his concept is there's this weapon that'll essentially wipe out all of humanity, and the thought process is if there's nobody left to be
not
reborn,
just humanity, but even
all
animals, all life.
If there's no creature to be
reborn
into,
a
dead.
bird,
I'm free. For him, it's freedom. Death is freedom. And he goes into explain basically like the one woman says basically by adolescence you get your full memories back. And he explained that he gets his full memories back as soon as he's born. He's in the womb for 9 months.
As soon as he's in the womb.
9 months without not being able to do anything. So it's like, I mean, his storyline is the most interesting because he's driven madness by immortality. He's driven mad.
It makes the most sense, too.
He's actually really, in some terms, like he's really not, like, I understand he's killing all life, or that's what he wants to do.
Right.
But it's kind of like, how long have you been alive? Like, how many times have you been reborn?
Yet he creates a gun that can actually take that away from doing that.
But it doesn't kill you, though. It traps you in a prison.
Okay, yeah, I know. But if he was so worried about it, he could put his life on pause just by shooting himself in the head.
No, it's just like Minority Report, where they're conscious. They're conscious in those cubes. They're trapped in there.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, that's what they talk about.
Are they still conscious?
They didn't talk about that, but he basically captures the soul, like your essence, your consciousness.
Correct. He stops them from being respawned or reborn.
Yeah.
Respawn. I'm gonna
Once
say
you're
like
destroyed, spoiler alert, like the end of the movie showed you,
Yeah, you're reborn.
can all be released.
That was a prison for your soul that is in no way a positive context.
uh
He was
Yeah.
literally keeping Guardians prisoners in little plastic fucking Target containers.
no little fucking what do you call those?
Bro, it's those
At the library.
It's those
At
three
the library
yeah,
when
yeah,
you
exactly.
pull the
He's literally
oh
keeping
God,
them in
what is it
like
called?
the grease pan shelf of the fucking thing.
I mean, the concept of the technology that they had makes sense because they lived lifetimes. They would know it over and over.
Yeah, it's just so futuristic. He still makes swords.
That's that's the thing
Well,
that
they were able to
Yeah.
fend off fucking bullets. I don't know.
all this technology, all this knowledge, and you revert back to these ancient ways of doing things.
Yeah,
And I'm
like
Well, he's
literally,
still fast enough.
literally, the villain is over here like I've created future weapons to suck your soul from your brain, and they're over here like, well, I made a sword.
it's
It's like, all right,
true.
Like, literally-
And a bulletproof car with armor that once they break out of the prison, the car no longer has armor.
yeah, it just disappears. The plow that was in front of it,
Yeah.
and then like, as soon as they said, that's where,
Inconsistencies.
as soon as she was like, that's where he got his metal plate, I was like, that's coming up later on.
Yeah.
That's foreshadowing. As soon as they talked about him having a metal plate in his head, I'm like, and then late, like midway through, I was like, he's gonna get shot in the head with that thing at some point in his metal plate, and sure enough, fucking like it is textbook. That's what they do.
What's his name? Bathrope. Bathrope. What the fuck?
Bathroom, I believe, is how you pronounce it.
The bathroom. Okay.
To Matt's point, you have a character in Mark
Bathurst.
Wahlberg who is supposed to be the main character of the story, but they keep, rather than tell the story of his previous form, they show you tidbits. So you
Not
never
even the
really,
death.
yeah, you really never make the connection.
Yeah, you didn't see him die,
Not only
but you did see him die later. You did see him die later.
At the end.
Yeah, you saw him hit the car.
But
from the
no,
top.
he didn't die there. He was still alive there.
No, not. I'm not talking about Mark Wahlberg.
Oh,
The 80s guy.
Yeah.
1985. He fell from the top and he died
well, no,
there.
he gets hung, doesn't he? At the one
No.
point, doesn't he get hung by the rope? Or
Nope.
is he rebound from that? He definitely gets on the crane. He gets hung, but I don't. Maybe he comes off of it
Yeah, no.
because he
I
falls
don't
into
know
an
about that.
explosion. Like he's falling into the. There's definitely a scene where at one point he's hanging by a rope off of the crane, but he does
Yeah, and
fall
then
to his
Yeah,
death.
he's got the sword in there and he falls off and
He
he
is
lands in
hanging
it.
from a cord.
Yeah,
Then
he cuts it.
his friend is over him with the gun, and he lets go of the cord to be so he doesn't get shot with the bullet.
Okay, yeah, and I see that was the thing is you don't even see the whole scene. Like you gotta, it's flashback.
You see it later.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. The first incarnation of Mark Wahlberg you see is a white dude. Second incarnation is Mark Wahlberg. Real life, his soul's a samurai. What the fuck? Like how? That's how fate works. That it's like, yeah, we know you were this dude. Like you were a samurai, Japanese motherfucker in the past, but
don't they go back even further?
We're gonna give you fucking Dylan O'Brien and then Mark Wahlberg, two Irish motherfuckers. That's who you're gonna respawn as.
Again, spoiler alert. At the end of the movie, he respawns as an Asian guy.
Indonesian, yeah.
in Indonesia. Yeah.
But Alex is right. Some of the memories he experiences once again in horribly chopped up scenes go back to like the apocalypto times.
Yeah, exactly.
But once again, those are just because when he picks up the rope, like that scene started off really cool, and then it just got kind of dumb. The whole scene where he pulls out the objects, like at first you're like, okay, it's kind of neat, and then you see how they choose to show the flashbacks of the memories, and it's like, meh.
And I think that's part of the problem. I think if the flashbacks were cut right, maybe you get a little bit more of the story.
Yeah.
The cuts between his previous form were cut right.
Yeah.
I think it would make more sense.
Well, like cut out, like you don't want it to go too long, so cut out useless banter and give me 10 more minutes of backstory or just 2 minutes apiece, fully fleshed out flashback scenes.
Okay, so the chase scene inside the building of the police station I could do without because how realistic is it?
Well, I mean,
with
how
a fucking little
realistic is it
Porsche,
that
a little Porsche.
you can't
Well,
really talk about
no,
realism
I'm
in a
talking about
movie
I'm
like
talking about
this.
the Porsche actually breaking walls and doing this and that.
But once again, you're
When
talking
when
about a
you
Porsche
actually
that has
see
a
the car,
retractable armor.
when you,
Like,
yeah, when you see the car starting to bog down when they're going through stuff, and she has to use a fucking explosion to move shit again.
but
You
once
understand what I'm
again,
saying?
the other problem is you've already seen these in other movies. Like what they did with him in the big truck is what Fast and the Furious 5 did, but
Well,
better.
the big truck doing it, I can see. The little car doing it.
Yeah, but the armor in the front, bro.
Oh yeah, when it reappears
That's
and appears.
retractable Wolverine
Uh,
metal.
What'd you say? Fast and Furious. I've seen a little bit of that.
Yeah,
in
the
here.
one where the Rock is driving through the Brazil police station with his big old
So
truck. It's very much the
you
same
don't
thing.
think
Any 007 movie, I can see like with the technology, the vehicle, the bulletproofness,
The modern
all
Mission
that.
Impossible movies.
And then Mission
Yeah.
Impossible. Yeah, it's all been done. Like
And there was
it's
even
so
some
weird.
scenes in this movie where it's clearly they were trying to go with the espionage Mission Impossible vibe. The sweeping like drone shots, him literally on top of the airplane as it's flying, bending air or whatever the fuck he's doing with his magic fingers.
So the first time that ability was used by his previous form, when he jumped the bridge, he made the car float through the air.
Was it that, or was it that he had created such a momentum by the spinning, he was able to let the momentum fly? Like, what? That's the thing, is they don't fucking
to propel him.
Literally,
They
the
don't
only
tell him.
time they reference it is when she's like, he believed he could do this, but it's all bullshit. Like that, like they don't even tell you what it is.
Yeah, they don't explain it very well. And then when Mark Wahlberg uses it, he uses it. I don't know what he uses it
He's
for.
literally just holding
get
his
his
hand
balance
out.
on the-
Like,
on
well,
the
yeah,
plane.
he's on the literally. For one thing, he doesn't start using the power until after he had already jammed his sword into the plane to hold on. Right?
Twice.
You're already
Twice.
off the plane, bro. You don't have that upper body. Fuck off. Like, don't get me wrong, he's in incredible shape. You know how many G-forces are when you're on top of a plane as it flies? And then he does his little magic fingers, and all of a sudden he's fucking Mr. Magnet feet.
I like to call him spirit fingers.
Jazz hands.
Oh, jazz hands. Yeah.
But then as he's doing it, he just looks like when you're driving and you're like, ooh, the breeze is cool. Like he's just doing that with his hand out the window. It's like, the fuck.
I miss fucking being a passenger in a car.
Speaking of plane, there's a scene where they're fighting in the plane, which is a little far fetched to begin with. But then there's a point where they jump out of the plane.
See, the plane scene is ridiculous, but it is kind of cool seeing them tumble and the bomb bounce around and then anti-gravity. But you're right.
Yeah.
When they leave the plane, it's like, what the fuck?
I know. And the CG's so bad.
It's
And
literally
then-
as bad as Eraser in some parts. Remember Eraser when he's parachuting down and it's just Arnold like doing this behind a green screen?
Was he parachuting down or
he was diving
down?
towards a parachute. Why you gotta
'cause
correct
he
me
didn't
on
have a
little shit
parachute.
like that? You know what I'm saying.
He didn't have a parachute.
You know what I'm fucking saying.
But I think Mark Wahlberg's character, when he kills the villain, he overdoes. Like you stabbed him with the sword already.
Which you don't even really see because I think they were trying to avoid rated R. So it's like he makes a move and then all of a sudden the sword's in him.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like it almost like there was a frame missing. Like it wasn't there.
Weird. It was even with the gunshot, like it was
Yeah, the back of the head.
and the bullets there. Like it's like what?
It was almost like Buster Scruggs when he's like, oh.
Yeah, well, and that was the thing is when Mark Wahlberg
What
gets
the
shot in the
hell?
back of the head. It's basically he's got the same face as Buster Scruggs. Like,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't expecting that to happen. It's like the fuck. How did I move into this movie? Like,
The one thing that drives me crazy with the villain in this movie is why does every villain in a movie have to have some
look like you.
super fantastical looking apparatus? Like, did you see
Okay.
the bomb
Yeah.
that he built?
Yeah,
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
skull
yeah.
and
On
the
top
apparatus.
and like,
Yeah.
I was like, what the
So
is this?
since when are
So,
bombs made
place
with
the egg.
rather than having a digital faceplate to arm it? It's just a face that you have to
It's a
smash
skull.
in and then
Yeah.
take an egg out of the bomb. What the fuck?
What?
Like
It's-
literally, they can make they have the time of unlimited lives to make.
He has
that,
a bullet.
and you can
He
do
has a
that.
bullet that steals people's souls.
Yeah.
Souls.
Like, why didn't you just go
And
make?
he can't just put his thumbprint to fucking activate a bomb.
Why didn't you just go make Elon Musk money and live happily and go get fat until you die of a heart attack and you're reborn? Like what? Your memories don't have to be so bad. Go eat McDonald's until you die. Like
he's having memories since he's in fucking the womb. So I don't know, man. They are that bad.
And that concept is
he has to fucking deal with every fucking meal.
See, well, yeah, and that's you got to do 8. You got to do how many months of breastfeeding? You're conscious the whole time.
Also, a misconception about pregnancy is it's actually 10 months versus 9 months.
Well, there's the gestation period.
Yeah, the gestation. Yeah, which people don't realize. So if he really is living through it all, that's a long time.
That does beg the
before
question,
it even starts.
You would have to imagine though, his memories would only come back when the brain is formed. So you wouldn't imagine it would be 9 months he's waiting in the womb.
But he says he has it during the whole time he's in the womb.
Yeah, but when you're a little cell, you don't have a brain to have memories.
Yeah.
Maybe he does. I don't know. He said since he was in the womb.
Even if we assume fully formed brain, he's getting his memories back. First of all, that would mean that this villain should have never lost, because he's now the smartest individual on the planet.
Yeah, how have you not formulated a
well,
plan?
It depends on his parents. What kind of parents was he being born to?
No, I'd argue it doesn't, because then at the end when Wahlberg comes back as the Indonesian kid, by that age he's got all those skills, and the father's just like, I pick rice. I don't know.
Yeah,
like I'm a rice farmer. I don't know how he knows how
He's
to do
like,
this
I'm
shit.
only here just telling him to practice.
I'm making money off of betting on my son. What the fuck do you want me to say? Like, realistically, his father's just trying to make money off his kid who's inexplicably a fucking samurai.
And the artisan's talking in English, and they're like, I don't know this is your sword. And
yeah, and then
like,
and then when he responds in English, the father's face is like, the fuck? Like,
like, how the fuck you know English?
Yeah,
but then again, how did the father know what the artisan was saying? And
the other thing is, like, did the kid really even have an accent? Like, he sounded like he was an American. Like,
no, he didn't have an accent at all.
What took you so long? Like, it doesn't matter.
What took you so long, artisan?
It doesn't matter what your memories are. If I wiped your memory and then made you live in Germany for 6 months while you got your memory back, you'd develop an accent. That's how it works. It's the brain doing its own thing. You don't control that.
Hey, but I gotta give it up to Opie. Opie in this fucking movie was awesome.
Opie?
Yeah, he's the one that was training with fucking Mark Wahlberg.
That wasn't Opie from Sons of Anarchy.
I know, but he looks just fucking like him, didn't he?
He looked a little bit like him, yeah. But that guy had.
Oh, he looked 100% like him.
I disagree. Have you seen Opie in a while?
He had tattoos on his eye. Oh no, he's fucking huge. He's in Walking Dead.
Is he still muscular?
No, he died in Walking Dead, but yeah, he's still in there. Yeah, he's fucking huge.
Is he big? Because I remember in the first seasons of Sun, he was in decent shape, and then once he got picked up as like a regular, he got like all swole.
Yeah, he was a huge fucking dude in Walking Dead.
It seems like everybody's been in fucking Walking Dead.
Yeah,
everybody.
But that guy looked like fucking Opie.
It did a little bit, except with short hair.
The whole time.
He was more Slavic looking though.
With more fucking eye tattoos right here.
Like Opie looks like he could be a redneck, and that guy in that one was. But and then you like that's the other thing is they don't really like until the characters start to die one by one. They don't really give you a reason to give two shits about them.
Yeah,
it's really not until the end where you're like, oh, he's sacrificing himself, but he's gonna be reborn, so what does it matter?
With that said, so the Opie guy versus the villain.
Uh-huh.
So when that scene when he blows up the door in slow mo, and then all the bombs pop up and take out all the people.
Yeah,
that was kind of cool.
That was very reminiscent of Swordfish.
Oh,
remember with the ball bearing bombs? Yeah, it was like a modern day take on that scene. I liked it a lot, actually.
But that was a propeller type fucking.
When he fought the bad guy, I mean, Opie's character ended so quickly, and you would think if they're both have all these generations of fighting and skill, and Opie was training in that room, that fight should have lasted quite a bit longer.
Well, not only that, but they give you an idea of like he's like the old Viking lore because he uses the hatchets.
One thing you could say though is Bathurst was the main guy with what's his name? Treadway or whatever.
Which if you
They were
go
best
by,
friends.
if you go by the biblical sense, the villain in this one would literally be Lucifer, the top angel who fell. If you go, like the villain is Lucifer,
Right.
And
And
I
that
don't
would
know
be
if
that
I
would
don't know
be
if Treadway.
Bathurst.
I don't know if Treadway would he would represent God, or if he would represent Michael the Archangel, or how they
or like or like one of the brothers. Yeah.
I feel more so Michael. Probably Michael.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. See, the problem is it's weird because this movie also does feel like it takes from other religious and like you get everything from like a Viking lore to the obviously samurai is a completely different lore to the Asian. And by the way, Mark Wahlberg just doesn't look like somebody that knows how to use a fucking sword. Like, I'm just gonna say
No.
that. Like, him holding a sword just looks weird because it's taller than him.
That's the saddest part about this movie. Like, and again, this is coming from an atheist. Some of the best stories told are in religious texts. Damn good stories. They are
Ernest Scared
great
Stupid.
stories. Yeah, they could have took so much inspiration between verses in the Bible, the Quran, wherever you go, and they could have done something really amazing.
I mean, let's be realistic. Most of them are the same short stories, anyways.
Yeah, I know. I know. But they could have done an awesome dynamic in terms of relationships between the two characters, how they're represented, who they are in the like. I can see Cain and Abel there for sure.
I think if
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think if they took 30 minutes off of Ballad of Buster Scruggs and put the 30 minutes on this, it would have made a little more different.
Well, like,
movie.
Here's my thing.
If you would have, yeah,
you could have totally have used the concept of the Guardians were the angels blessed by God, and the bad guys, the ones who want to die, are the fallen that God turned his back on because they betrayed him. Like, you could have done it where it was a war between these two sects, where the evil section wants nothing but to destroy what they'll never be and they can never have, and this sect is here to protect it and embrace it. And you could have done a biblical thing in that, where you literally have, that's good and evil, basically. And that's the problem, is I don't feel like this movie knows what direction it wanted to go in.
Yeah.
But with the story that Bathurst says, where he's conscientious from the moment he's brought back in, it kind of changes that whole dynamic of, like, is it good versus evil? It's just like I actually have been here longer, and I'm remembering this shit.
Well, then that would also give credence to the idea of, like, he's accursed. He's cursed with every time he's reborn to have those, like,
He's a villain. He's not.
No,
he's not a villain, but what he wants to do is villainous.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's not a villain in the sense of, like, you understand why he feels that way, but he's also trying to kill all life on Earth.
Yeah.
That's what I said. He's not a villain, but he is villainous.
It's almost like, brother, I understand, but even the bugs.
I get you. I get you.
Even the fucking.
But you're trying to kill everybody, motherfucker.
You don't want to come back as a bumblebee?
If you don't want to fucking have any more fucking lives after that, just fucking live as long as you can, motherfucker.
And another thing movies like this get wrong is the fact that if this was any sort of reality, all of these people wouldn't be underground. They'd be in high political positions controlling things. And that's where they always get it wrong too. Like, they assume
as quickly as they can.
They assume that the heroes and the villains have to be underground, and it's an underground, away from all of the convex of life. And it's like, no, realistically, if this was truth, your president would be one of them. That's the difference.
And not only that, like, they have all this technology that they built, right? If they're so underground, they're using it in fucking public. Like, shit that doesn't make any sense.
Oh, the car, the car.
How come neither
that
side
one bomb
can
she
learn?
fucking shoots under the thing, and it fucking decimates the whole fucking ground.
Yeah, so when the ground breaks up when it blows up. But how come it seems neither side learned? Like, you're talking about generations upon generations upon generations. How has neither side either learned how to completely defeat the other, or figured out how to work together? Like, how many hundreds of years and you haven't come to an agreement?
Here's something I can say what you just said, Giovanni. About the position of a higher power to you, man. Maybe they had tried back in the past and it didn't work, but it also brings that whole thing, like, well, what are they doing different now, and why are they hiding? But maybe they did try to fucking get a higher position. Maybe they did try.
But
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But it's too many hypothetical shit that yeah.
With all their technology, Matt's right. They should be at a higher position. To be
But-
so underground
yeah.
and use technology in public makes no sense.
No.
You're giving yourself away.
Well, an
That-
organization that's been around for thousands of years through rebirths makes no sense to be underground in general.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. Like you would be the domineering party. Whoever's got the power to like the truth of it is the villains.
But
would
they
have
also
been,
went from thousands to fucking hundreds.
Yeah, but even with that, like
They were like 500 in the movie. Yeah, that's I remember them saying that.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have like I don't feel like you would really have two sects of beings. You would have one group that's gonna run shit because they're infinite, and then you'd have everybody else. Like, I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that with less than 500, you have a group of them that are dedicated solely to murdering the only other people like them. You know what I mean? Like it's a concept that where it's like you're really kind of pushing my suspension of disbelief here.
Yeah.
Especially when the villain in all logical rights is less a villain and more of a madman driven by the insanity of immortality. And not even just immortality, but rebirth and regrowth every time.
Those are probably the best parts of the movie when he actually explains his reasoning.
Yeah.
Like when he tracks
Dude's
the
a
guy
good
down and
actor.
explains to him.
Yeah.
He is a good actor.
Wahlberg character. Like, yeah, he does a very good job depicting that madness.
Yeah, his
Also,
performance is one of the few strong points of the movie.
The thing that he does with his hands, that's actually a fucking keyboard and mouse thing. They actually have those things. You could buy those.
Yeah, but not like he was doing.
Yeah, but when you can't control drones.
Doing
But
this
no,
shit
but they have
not
things where
Minority
you can
Report.
you can actually do keyboard and mouse with things
Yeah,
like
they
that.
attached. I saw
Yeah,
that.
it's
I saw an article about it, and then I was just thinking to myself of like, how the fuck would that work? Like,
yeah.
How do you know what I mean? Like,
It would be fun to own as a novelty.
How do you know what the fucking letters and like? It would just be a garbled mess with my. I got a size 16 ring. Like for me, it's just. Was that an
You
L?
gotta retrain your brain.
Like I said, it would be a fun novelty, but that does exist. That technology does exist.
I guess my question with that sort of technology is like, why? Like, is that saving people time? Is it making day-to-day tasks easier? Like, what is the purpose of having a floating keyboard that you have to learn an entire new system to operate when my fucking wired keyboard can do the same thing quicker? Like, what, like, it's the same thing when they came out with the...
Well, you could use it as a mouse, too.
Oh, like, believe me, when they get to the technology where you're swooshing fucking shit around like Minority Report or when he's piloting the drones, I'm in there. But right now, like, this does nothing but give me lots of red lines under my words. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of me having to use my mouse hand to fucking...
You already have a lot of red lines under your words when you send text messages, so whatever.
With that. How bad am I going to be with a fake fucking keyboard I'm playing chopsticks in the air with? I think I'm either playing a song or typing a letter. I don't know. But that sort of technology is cool with the concept of like virtual keyboards and like doing stuff like that. It's really neat. But I just don't see the practicality for having a fake virtual based keyboard in like what industry is that making things quicker? Maybe the people who do the notations for the court. Get them off of the old school machine.
Stenographer.
Yeah, but then they have to learn an entirely new system.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with like when Microsoft came out with the glasses that had a little computer in it. Like people are busy enough.
Didn't somebody down there get that, or no? That was just
If you have
glasses with speakers in it.
Oh, that's what you got.
If you had the Microsoft glasses with the computer in it, you either didn't have the time to use it because you're always busting your ass, or you're the type that was sitting on your ass and didn't need it but bought it and then got bored with it because you've got no use for it because you're not productive anyways.
Yep.
That's why that thing flopped.
2 categories. That's it.
The people who bought it were like, I don't have fucking time. I got real glasses I gotta wear, and those are the people that bought it thinking they'd use it for business, and then everybody else was like, I think it'll be a neat tool to surf the web, and then realized that jerking off with one eye closed so you can see it into the one lens isn't ideal. Once Pornhub stopped loading on their glasses, they're like, the fuck?
No, they realized that Pornhub wasn't available.
That's when that's when you see like
They're like, sorry, I can't do this. It's not available now.
tell you right now, if you got sons that are of puberty age, and if you walk into the bathroom and they got one of those fake VR things that you put on your phone that extends out, that motherfucker's looking at VR porn. Guarantee you. Ain't no other reason those are supposed to be in the bathroom. Who the fuck is watching VR videos in the bathroom? If that's in there, that little son of yours, or daughter, whatever, is looking at VR porn. I'm just saying.
Quack, quack, quack.
What else are you going to be watching while you're taking a shit? You're not watching dinosaur videos in VR. Be real here. I mean, I would.
I don't know.
I'm
I
different.
watch movies.
I would love a VR headset just to, like, I don't know if I would be able to, like, I don't know if it'd be my main source of watching movies, but I think there's something very cool of having your own personal movie theater.
Yeah.
You know, there's something neat about that, but it's an investment for the luxury of watching fucking movies to yourself, which, frankly, at some point you're going to be fucking so concentrated on a movie and your wife is going to touch her, you're going to touch you and you're going to slug her. Like, you'll just be so absorbed into it. It's like,
I was going to say, you used to watch horror movies. That'd be really cool.
It'd be neat as fuck, but it's expensive. Like, oh, that'd be cool, you know?
When I was first introduced to VR, it was through the phone, and it told me that I can actually share my Netflix, or I can watch Netflix with somebody else. And I don't know what the hell happened, because you can't do that now, can you?
I don't know. I mean, there's a family thing.
You can watch Netflix with other people and
I don't know.
You know,
I mean,
be there with them.
We can't even share it via the Discord calls. They got they got some sort of protection on there that's fucking with it. But all right, so back to the movie. Like, I went into this. I think it was actually technically my choice. Like, I wanted to watch it.
You did.
I went into it very like, oh man, cool, a new Mark Wahlberg action movie. And I don't know, by the end of it, it's one of those movies that, like, I didn't hate, but I don't see myself maybe ever watching it again.
Yeah, that's the boat on
True.
Like, it wasn't.
I probably won't watch it again.
It's okay if you've got an hour and a half and you need something stupid where shit blows up. It works on a few levels there, but, like, trying to go any deeper with logical reasoning or story development in some of the cases is just dead ends. Like, the fact that we have to, and we've said it before, but the fact that we have to sit here and be like, they die when, like, they're reborn when they blow up, but it's like a prison, right? Like, that conversation shouldn't happen. Like, there should have been a line of dialogue that says they're trapped there being tormented until they're freed or something. The fact that we have to have discussions to fill in those blanks is a problem. You know, and it's like, it shouldn't, like, I'm not saying it needs to be perfect, but we shouldn't have to fill in the lore that you refuse to. I shouldn't have to think of scenarios on how your movie makes more sense this way. And that's a sign of a movie. It's just, I don't know if it was development issues. I don't know if budget got cut. I don't know if it was planned for bigger than hit pandemic.
We don't even know what the fucking budget was.
Yeah.
We can't find it anywhere.
You know, it was probably slated for theater release. But
it's slated for it, yeah.
It popped to Paramount. I mean, what could have happened was because HBO Max started doing it first, right?
They were the ones to. Well, they were the first to announce like an entire year's lineup.
They realized, like, oh shit, they can actually make money like that, and tried to. Because I feel like we're gonna get a whole bunch of subscription services, not HBO Max, doing this shit. Like, oh, now we got to get budget movies.
I mean, the problem with this movie, and I think it's the truth, is if they would have released it in theaters, it would have fucking, and not even because of the pandemic, it would have horribly flopped.
Yeah,
by word of mouth.
If they weren't giving this movie on Paramount, nobody would have gone to see it.
It wasn't a horrible movie though. I
don't hate the movie. There's pieces that I really do like. Like, I really like the action set pieces. It's just there's a lot of like illogical shit and just plot holes. That's like I'm tired of, like, I like Mark Wahlberg, but I'm tired of ignoring plot holes. Like, we shouldn't have to sit here and puzzle together a way your movie makes more sense.
Yeah,
and that's the same for the Coen Brothers movie. And I think that was less of them being it was less of them making a bad movie and more of them not giving enough.
Yeah.
Which is different than this is just they wrote a script that they probably thought made sense, but the fact of the matter is that you give so little about the organization, the main character, and then
actor choosing.
Yeah, and then Mark Wahlberg's
Yeah.
supposed to be your main character, but as soon as his blonde counterpart comes in, they're now co-stars. Where he's back to the dumb kind of dumb guy, just trying to keep
I
up.
think Wahlberg did a great job for what he was cast for.
Wahlberg was supposed to be the main character in this movie, and I felt like you said when the woman came in,
He gets
I felt
overshadowed.
like that role kind of switched.
He goes from main character to the dumb guy who's playing catch up, and she's killing everybody.
Yeah, it's really weird.
He literally is a samurai from generations ago, but she's tough and she has her memories. Therefore, Mark Wahlberg's basically a baby doe. The baby doe.
But they're all relying on him getting his memories back, and they're all relying on him surviving.
And I get it, because the idea being that they're all rough shits. They're all kind of built for war at this point over the different births and different years, but it's still.
And they've all started at the point of puberty where he has repressed it.
Yeah, I don't know. And then they have some stuff where they show the relationship between her and him when they were in the Buddhist temple when they were together as kids.
Mm-hmm.
Her, the man, but they never really. I mean, she dies because she blows herself up with all the things, and they're all reborn. But it's there's no what does it lead to? They stop the bombing. What would a sequel even fucking be about?
Yeah. You
stop the main bad guy. There's an organization of the evil agents or whatever you want to call them. But what do you have? What story do you still have to tell? What?
That's the weird thing. You kill
Sympathizers.
the main bad guy. What are they all hive minds now? You got rid of all the bad guys. It makes
this movie would have been much better if you would have treated it almost like an X-Men, where the public knows about them and infinites are continuously in danger, because if they find out a child that's an infinite through rebirth, they murder it immediately. You could have gone to different realms.
Respawn later. That makes no sense. But yeah.
Well,
gotcha.
but that would be the whole thing. Is the backwards logic would be they hunt the children, and then continuously hunt them, so they're never truly reborn, or they're reborn but they never get time to remember who the fuck they are, to the point where you dilute those memories so much. What is the soul that you're actually passing down?
That would have been an interesting ending. That could have made an interesting sequel too, had they done it correctly.
There could have been something where it's somehow at the end of this one, the public finds out. And then you have a whole dichotomy of well, they're snatching children and they're killing them, and just doing the problem is they don't set up any stakes. Not at one point in this movie did I feel like the bomb to kill every living thing on the planet was an actual serious threat. There was no way in any point in this movie I thought, they made the stakes so high. When you literally make the stakes so high that all life on Earth dies if the main character fails, you guarantee the main character will not fail. You guarantee it's going to have a happy ending. And if you don't, you got balls of fucking steel, and I would support that movie. If this movie ended with the motherfucking
Wahlbergs of steel.
If the bomb ended with the bomb going off and all humanity died, or all life on this planet died, I would give it standing ovation. Because that would at least take it in a direction nobody saw it going.
Mm-hmm.
The movie Knowing. Have you ever seen the movie Knowing? With Nicolas Cage?
Oh, yeah.
The whole movie, it's all of you. The whole movie makes you think he's going to figure out a way to stop the rapture. End of the movie, happens anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Whole fucking planet's dead. If they would have done that, they would have redeemed the entire movie, because at least it's oh fuck, talk about buttoning up that universe.
Yeah, it's the twists. For sure.
You make the whole movie for nothing. I would have respected that. All right, last words. Ever.
Sure.
It wasn't a bad movie, but I'm in the same boat. I don't think I'd watch this again.
No, I definitely. This is one of those ones where it's you know what? No, I'm good. I don't think
I don't
ever
think I
need
would
to.
ever watch this movie again. It's like The Happening.
What?
Sorry.
What's happening? Where?
With whom?
All right. I'm gonna go with hot dogs. I'm gonna have to give this one a 2 again. I'm gonna give this a 2. I'm 2s tonight. This one, it's a
You're a choo-choo.
much like the first movie we reviewed. There's a lot of potential, and had it gone in the right directions, it could have been like the first movie wasn't bad, but it could have been great. And this movie wasn't. It was so, but it could have been good had they had done certain things proper. So I'm gonna give it 2 hot dogs.
I'll go next. I enjoyed this a little more than I did Ballad of Buster Scruggs. So I'm gonna go 2.5. So I'm gonna go halfway out of the hot dogs. Um, it was still entertaining to me. I just fucking I tuned out. I zoned in, what do you call, however you want to call it. I was watching it and I was just like fucking here watching, and I caught it all.
It is a good movie to shut off to and just let it play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't have to fucking play into fucking like, oh, what am I gonna do about this? And with an anthology, you have to actually pay attention to each story because you're worried it's gonna connect. But then when it doesn't, you're like, oh, what the fuck happened?
That was frustrating.
So with this, I kind of did the same thing. I watched them both in the same tone, but I was able to follow the whole story and get a beginning and middle and end. Even though there was shit that didn't make sense, but yeah, 2.5.
For me, it's a 2. The flow of the movie um, was all messed up, and I tried to shut my brain off to just do the action. But then every time something came up in the story, I'm like, well, why? They didn't explain that.
No.
Like, and I looked for the answer, and it wasn't there, and that just left me unsatisfied by the end. But for the action in this movie and the actors who do a good job to try and save it as best they can,
There were better actors in this than there was in fucking Buster's. Just saying.
Yeah.
I give it. Buster's still 3.5 for me. I'm not changing it.
No, I think Buster is definitely the better movie, but I rate them both the same because it's like Buster annoyed me because I wanted more and I wanted it does betray
It had
the idea.
50-50 though.
It betrays the idea of an anthology movie too.
Mhm.
Had they released it just 15, 20-minute episodic shorts, I would have received it a hell of a lot better because I would have understood. Each one is its own encompassed thing. I wouldn't have expected connecting tissue. But because they labeled it as anthology, I expect connecting tissue, and because they didn't have that, and then the Oregon Trail being slow and some of the acting, and also I felt in like the writing was imbalanced. Like the Buster Scruggs segment, the writing's great. The James Franco setting, there's not much writing, but Stephen Root's the best. You know,
He's good.
and then you have Oregon
Headshot!
Trail where it's just
Sorry, I gotta scream that every time I hear that.
it's bad. It's just boring, bad writing, bad acting until the very end. So yeah. No, I rate them the same because they're both movies that I don't see myself going back to watching either of them for quite some time. There's not enough to them to appeal to me to. There's no reason for me to take another dive. I'm not going to see anything.
I
new.
honestly don't see myself watching either one of them ever again. Unless my wife decides she wants to watch one, but
And then
I highly find
you'll make her watch them by herself while you sleep in the bed. And
no. I would actually watch it with her, but I don't think that'll ever happen.
You can ask her
It would never
questions
happen.
while she's watching it.
No, yeah. There you go. Flip the fucking Thank you.
Why are they acting? Why did he just throw him off the bridge? Why isn't he there?
Exactly.
Yeah, you can bother her.
Wait, where'd the sword come from? What?
How
what?
does he know how to make swords?
I'm curious. What's going on?
Wait, was Mark Wahlberg a samurai? Don't worry, the movie will clearly point it out to you. It doesn't let you think at all. Yes, he was a samurai. That's why he makes the swords. Yes, it was schizophrenia. Yes, it was puberty. Yes, they were actually my memories. Fucking. It's like everything is just like you. There's no thought. It's just, I'm not going to think because I don't have to because Mark Wahlberg will tell me exactly what's going on here in a second.
With whom?
Yeah, and there was no Mark Wahlberg in this movie, by the way. The Mark Wahlberg I'm used to seeing was not in this movie.
Yeah, he was out of place.
There was a little bit of him. There was a little bit of him.
He was out of
Only
place.
in the sarcastic comments, but other than
Yeah,
that, it had none of the traditional Mark Wahlberg.
Like at the very beginning when he was dealing with the fucking the drug dealer, that was Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, yeah. That was like tough.
I liked
Wahlberg.
that whole little thing, that whole little scene. I liked it with him.
I'm gonna put it this way: it's my final thoughts of the movie. Go watch Four Brothers. It's a better Mark Wahlberg movie.
I like Four Brothers.
Yeah, he plays a much better, more realistic role in that movie. One that suits him. Tough guy who tried to change his actual life story. The ruffian.
There goes a future movie with us. That with Go or no what was it? What you do?
I don't know. I didn't have any Dazed and Confused, but that doesn't...
Yeah, there you go. We'll put that with that. How about that?
No.
Opposites.
It's not even opposites. We gotta talk. We gotta talk about this. All right.
I'm fucking with you.
I'm done. Everybody have a good night. Say bye, fellas.
Bye, fellas.